Dear student, welcome to EduSat teleteaching program. Today we will discuss about our third part of the missile man of India. In the last two classes we have discussed, and today we will discuss the third part, that is your paragraph 5, 6, 7. Okay. Then after we will discuss the recapitulation, that means what we have discussed in the last class. Then we have the loud reading, after loud reading we have the meaning, then the assignment is there and some key points are there, one after another we will discuss. So, first of all my dear students, we will do the recapitulation of the last class. It is clear to you? Then yes, very good, come to this recapitulation. We will discuss what we have learned in the last class. Have you remember my dear students? First you remember the SGP 2, what we have discussed. Dr. Kalam completed his schooling from Squat Higher Secondary School. Do you remember the picture? He has completed his schooling, okay, from Squat Higher Secondary Schools. And second point was, he was considered to be a hardworking and bright student. We have already discussed. Though he was not a very scholar one, but he was very hardworking. He was admitted to St. Joseph College, where he graduated in physics. Remember, question may arise, where he got his graduate. That means, he was admitted to St. Joseph College, where he graduated in physics in 1954. Then what was the dream? His dream was, or his dream in life was to become a pilot. Okay, the next class we will discuss everything in detail. What is the next point we will go? He decided to study at the prestigious Madras Institute of Technology. You know very well what a good institute, that Madras Institute of Technology. He decided to become a pilot. He decided to study there. After that what happened? It was difficult for him to pay the fees. At that time his elder sister Asyama came to help to pay the course fees. You have remembered? So, she mortgaged her ornaments to pay the fees of Kalam. Okay. She mortgaged her gold ornaments. So, he started his education in the Madras Institute to become a pilot, that we have already discussed. Today what we are going to discuss? Paragraph 5, that is your SGP, sense group paragraph. First of all we will read, then we will go to the meaning. Open your book at page 42. Kalam began his career as a trainee at the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, in short form that is HAL, in Bangalore, now called Bangalore. Then he joined the Defence Research Development Organization, that is DRDO, as a scientist. In 1969, he was transferred to the Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, that is, where he worked as the project director of India's first satellite launch vehicle, SLV-3. The purpose of the SLV was to develop the technology to launch satellite. It was under Kalam's direct guidance and supervision that the first Rohini satellite was successful, launched into the orbit in 1980. Again I am going to read. So, please mind it. Reading, if you do reading and again, you can answer the question very easily. Next, Kalam began his career as a trainee at the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, HAL, in Bangalore. Now it is called Bangalore. Then he joined the Defense Research Development Organization DRDO as a scientist. In 1969, he was transferred to the Indian Space Research Organization ISRO, where he worked as the project director of India's first satellite launch vehicle SLV-3. The purpose of SLV was to develop the technology to launch satellites. It was under Dr. Kalam's direct guidance and supervision that the first Rohini satellite was successful launched into the orbit in 1908. Next we will go. The paragraph 6 you see, after spending 19 fruitful years in the ISRO, Kalam returned to DRDO to head the country's Integrated Missile Development Program IGMDP. Here he took a leading role in the development of India's missiles and nuclear weapons program. The program was very successful. It led to the development of 4 missiles, namely Prithvi, Trishul, Akash and Nag. The success of the program made him extremely popular in the country. Hereafter, he was popularly called the Missile Man of India. Again I am going to recite, reading it. After spending 19 fruitful years in the ISRO, Kalam returned to the DRDO to head the country's Integrated Missile Development Program IGMDP. Here he took a leading role in the development of India's missiles and nuclear weapons program. The program was very successful. It led to the development of 4 missiles, namely Prithvi, Trishul, Akash and Nag. The success of the program made him extremely popular in the country. Hereafter, he was popularly called the Missile Man of India. Yes, next we will continue. Paragraph 7, I have told you 5, 6, 7 is there, then we will go to the meaning. In 1998, as the chief of the DRDO, Kalam supervised the Pokhran 2 nuclear tests, for which he had camped in Rajasthan's Thar desert over a fortnight. The test was hugely successful. According to Dr. Kalam, it was a defining moment in the history of our country. Some years after the test, the Missile Man of India recollected, "Today, I remember the hot day of 1998 at Pokhran, 53 degrees Celsius, when most of the world was sleeping. India's nuclear era emerged." Again I am going to read it. In 1998, as the chief of the DRDO, Dr. Kalam supervised the Pokhran 2 nuclear tests, for which he had camped in Rajasthan's Thar desert for over a fortnight. The test was hugely successful. According to Dr. Kalam, it was a defining moment in the history of our country. Some years after the test, the Missile Man of India recollected, "Today, I remember the hot day of 1998 at Pokhran, 53 degrees Celsius, when most of the world was sleeping. India's nuclear era emerged." Our live reading is completed. Now we will go to see the meaning. Very careful, I am going to define the meaning. You see it very carefully, one after another. Okay? You see the meaning. Here the professional and also achievements, what professions and what achievements he had got. Kalam began his career as a trainee at Hindustan Aeronautic Limited, Hull. in Bangalore, now called Bangalore. Then he joined the Defence Research Development Organization, where he got his profession. Okay. He was as a scientist, in where? DRDO. Remember, he was a scientist in DRDO. Again also in 1969, he was transferred again to ISRO. ISRO means Indian Space Research Organization, okay, where he worked as the project director of the India's first satellite launch vehicle. Satellite launch vehicle means, you know the satellite, it is the artificial satellite, moon is our natural satellite. The satellite used in the space for communication. He developed it there. He was the project director at ISRO and developed the satellite launch vehicle that for the better communication. Launch means here we can say start. Again you see the purpose, what was the main purpose of SLV? Main purpose was SLV, what was that? To develop the technology to launch satellite. You see the satellite Rohini is there. It was under Dr. Kalam's direct guidance and supervision that the first Rohini satellite was there. You remember the artificial Rohini satellite, okay, he has developed that one, and also it was very successful, and it launched in the orbit in 1980. You remember, Rohini satellite was successful launched in the orbit, that in the year 1980. Okay. Here you see the picture of Rohini satellite is there. Again you see, after spending 19 fruitful years in ISRO, 19 years you remember, more than a decade, we can say 19 years in ISRO, he was the main scientist in ISRO. Kalam returned to DRDO to head the country's integrated missile development program. Integrated missile development program, in the short form we can say IGMDP, integrate means collect, we can say all programs will be there. Here what did he do there? Here he took a leading role in the development of India's missile and nuclear weapons program, both you see. In the integrated missile development program, what was the work of Dr. Kalam? Work of Dr. Kalam was there. What he was doing? Here he took a leading role. Leading role means main role for the development of the India's missile and the nuclear weapon. You know the nuclear weapon is they are used right now. We have very successful country for doing the nuclear weapon, that is we are very much proud of this, and we also very much salute to the great man, that missile man APJ Abdul Kalam. So he developed that one. Yes, you see the next one, what happened there. The program was very much successful, that integrated program was very much successful. To lead to the development of the 4 missiles, namely you see the different missiles are there, Prithvi is there, Trishul is there, Nag and Akash is there. He developed this program, 4 missile started the development program. The success of the program made him extremely popular. Okay. When he was joined there, the main aim of APJ Abdul Kalam was to develop the missile. We are very much poor in this context, we are very much poor, but after when he became the head there, he developed 4 missiles. You remember the name of the missiles, what are the name? Prithvi, Trishul, Akash and Nag. By the dint of hard labor of APJ Abdul Kalam, too much hard labor, it was very much successful. The success of the program made him extremely popular in the country. He was very much popular. When he developed this thing, he was very much popular among the people. Hereafter, he was popularly known as the missile man of India, the only one, the unique quality he got. The missile man, no one is there, only Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He was very popular for this that people came to know the missile man of India. Yes, he was very much popular as the missile man of India. Next we will go what is there. After that, in 1998 as the chief of the DRDO, okay, Dr. Kalam supervised the Pokhran. Where is Pokhran? It is in Gujarat. The nuclear test for which he had camped there. Camped means stayed there. You see, as a great scientist, great man of our country, he camped there in the tent. Camp, you understood? Camp there means in the tent he stayed there in Rajasthan, which is the hottest place of India, that you know the Thar desert, okay, over a fortnight, means 15 days he stayed there to test the Pokhran program. The test was hugely successful, nuclear program. Okay, can you tell me the picture? At that time, who was the Prime Minister? Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister there. Okay. The test was hugely successful. Each and every people came to know that India is the great in testing the nuclear program. Thar desert, you know, it is in Rajasthan. What happened there? The test was hugely, means greatly, very much successful, the Pokhran test. According to Dr. Kalam, it was a defining moment in the history of our country. Defining moment here question, an important point of time which something happened, the defining moment. It was the Pokhran 2 test was the defining moment of our country. Yes, we will go to the next, then interesting what you will know. Yes, what is the next? Some years after the test, the missile man of India recollected. The test was over. After that, what he recollected, remember. Today I remember the hot day of 1998 at Pokhran, that was 53 degrees Celsius. You can't imagine there how he camped there. 53 degrees Celsius, when most of the world was sleeping, India's nuclear era emerged. Okay, here means era means the age, emerged means came out. We become a successful country for testing the nuclear weapon. It was in Pokhran, that is located in Rajasthan. You remember, at that time our Prime Minister was what? Atal Bihari Vajpayee. And next we see some of the key ideas. That means what we discuss, that things we will know, then we will go to our question answer or the assignment. Okay. You see, some gist we can say. Kalam began his career where? At Hindustan Aeronautic Limited in Bangalore, started his career. First you remember. Next he joined DRDO as a scientist. In 1969 he joined ISRO. India, what is ISRO? Indian Space Research Organization, as project director of India's first satellite launch vehicle. What is that? Is Rohini, we have discussed. The first satellite Rohini was launched in the orbit under his guidance. It is in the year 1980. Okay. Next, what we have discussed, you see, what are the next point? At the head of integrated missile development, India's 4 missiles, namely Prithvi, Trishul, Nag and Akash, were developed under him. Integrated missile development program. He was the head of integrated missile development program, and with that help he developed 4 missiles: Prithvi, Trishul, Nag and Akash. The test was very much successful. That is your key points. Then after that we will discuss some of the questions, or that is the assignment. Yes, next we will go to this assignment. Okay, understood? Yes, that some questions are there. It is better for your understanding, you may write, or we will discuss in detail. Okay. How did, first question, how did Kalam began his career? He began his career as a trainee at the Hindustan Aeronautic Limited. or we can say HAL, the short form. He began his career as a trainee at the Hindustan Aeronautic Limited in Bangalore. Understood? Yes. We will go to the second question. Where has he appointed as a scientist? Before that he was first appointed as a scientist, you remember. Where he was appointed as a scientist? He was appointed as a scientist first in the Defense Research Organization. Okay. And our third question is, when did he start his work in the India's Space Research Organization, that is ISRO, ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization. When he started? He started his work in ISRO, we can say, or the Indian Space Research Organization, in the year 1969. Remember, again I want to repeat, how did Kalam began his career? He began his career as a trainee at the Hindustan Aeronautic Limited in Bangalore. Where was he appointed as a scientist first? He was appointed as a scientist first in the Defense Research Organization. Your third question is, when did he start his work in the Indian Space Research Organization, that is your ISRO? He started his work in the Indian Space Research Organization or ISRO in the year 1969. We will go to the next questions. You see, what was the purpose of satellite launch vehicle? This question number 4 is very important for you. What was the purpose of a satellite launch vehicle? The purpose of a satellite launch vehicle was to develop the technology to launch vehicle, to start the launch the satellite to the orbit. Understood? The purpose of satellite launch vehicle was to develop the technology to launch satellite, means to start the satellite to the orbit for communication. Number 5. How many years did Kalam spend in the ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization? Spent 19 years as a dedicated scientist there. He spent 19 years in the ISRO. Number question 6. What made him extremely popular? As like question 4 and question 6 are very important. Kalam's contribution for the development of 4 missiles, namely Prithvi, Trishul, Akash and Nag, made him extremely popular in the country. Okay? I want to going to repeat the question number 6, and it is very important. What made him extremely popular in the country? Kalam's contribution for the development of 4 missiles, namely Prithvi, Trishul, Akash and Nag, made him extremely popular in the country. Okay? Next you see some of the abbreviation and also some questions. What according to doctor was the defining moment, important moment in our country? According to Dr. Kalam, the success of Pokhran 2 in Rajasthan Thar Desert was the defining moment in the history of our country. Question 7 is also very important. Okay. According to Dr. Kalam, the success of Pokhran 2 nuclear in Rajasthan's Thar Desert was the defining moment in the history of our country. It is very important. Next we will wind up our program. The sum of the abbreviations. What do you mean by HAL? Question will be asked. It may be in the your syllabus or in the higher classes. HAL. HAL is the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Repeat please. Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. It is known as HAL. DRDO. DRDO means Defense Research Development Organization. DRDO, Defense Research Development Organization. Another is your ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization. It is very popular ISRO, you know, as he was a scientist. SLV, Satellite Launch Vehicle. It is one vehicle where we launch our satellite. IGMDP, Integrated missile development program. With this, we completed the third part of our chapter, the Missile Man of India. Thank you.